Fanny. I hope you're doing great. Just a short video of something I had to share like right now because I had a revelation last night. Wow. And that can really change your life, at least that really completely shifted my perception in a second. It's not something that I didn't know, but that just took me one step higher in my perception. Okay, so I've been creating this Colors of Nature Oracle from the art collection that I made for the Children's Hospital of New Orleans in 2018-19. And so I've been working on this oracle all along the journey. Every time I work on a painting, there is always messages that come, inspiration. It makes me think of a scene of life. Of course, the characters can remind you of people that you know, so you identify to the characters and you get a message. Okay, and these were very healing. All my painting are healing for me, but they're also all the journey, all the healing that's going on through my life, and I'm putting in the paint. When you look at the painting, you get that energy, that frequency of healing. So you don't have to go through the entire journey. You're already receiving those light codes, those energy of the frequency where I am in. But it's not something set as how I was when I was painting. Okay, it's just like when you're reading the Bible or when you're listening to a mastermind. You can read it many times, and every time you will read something different. Or you listen to the mastermind and the same story, but every time you understand, you apply it to your life or understand to another level, right? And many different levels. Then you pick, okay, how can I apply this to my life? How does it resonate? So the painting, of course, there is so many waves. You know, Robert Grant was putting a pattern the other day of like the phases of healing, right? And it's really is like that. It's like, you know, I usually use the spiral because you expand, but it's also like this. Like you're going forward, but then you have a setback and you're moving forward, and then you have a setback and you're moving forward. Why? Just like the learning for children. When you're in school, it's not like, oh, we've learned my multiplications once, that's it, I know them for life. No, you have to review them. Even when you're in your adult life, sometimes you don't remember all of your multiplications. Or the other day I was reviewing these the Pythagorean theorem, right? I was like, oh my God, I remember I used to love math, I used to love geometry and calculating those diameters and surfaces and stuff. It was impossible for me to remember. And as soon as I reviewed the theorem of Pythagoras, I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Okay, so it's the same with the spiritual development, with every kind of learning. You have to go through phases to really integrate it. So it's kind of the same with the painting, you know, the energy I was in when I painted, and then how all these images have been recoded by new experiences of life. They don't remind me of the same characters, they don't remind me of the same situations. Now as I was writing, so every time I would write a message, but I got back to that message and I got back to that message, because every time when I publish something, I probably have read it 20 times, because there is always a typo, there is always something to correct, or it's not exactly the idea. And last night I was reading a document, and then I was like, oh, there's a couple of typos, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to review my document, because sometimes when you write, you know, it's harder to review your own work, because sometimes you don't see when you're reading the work of someone else with an external eye. So anyways, I go back to my oracle and I notice there's quite a bit of typos or things that I would reformulate. So I'm working on this, and I get to that painting, the owl. Okay, so I have my little owl right here. I have my little owl. So I get to that painting. So this one is very white and bright, but the one that I have on my oracle is pretty dark. It's a dark moon night, full moon night with dark branches of the tree, and it talks about pretty much the dark night of the soul. Not with those words because it's for children, so I don't want to use scary terms, but it's kind of introducing what they can experience in their life, and hopefully images that, you know, sometimes you hear something and maybe you don't right away, but it stays in your head, and then when you notice a situation, it pops back in and it makes you think. It's very thought-provoking. So I'm reading this owl message, and I'm talking about, so it's very important to me, this topic of the law of attraction, manifestation, positivity. This matters a lot, and it triggers me a lot, this victimhood versus empowerment, hero versus victims, because I used to be, and I'm still like that, I've always been the most positive person. When I was a child, I was dreaming of traveling around the world, and as soon as I finished my studies, not even I combined working with traveling with studying. I always managed so many incredible things. I went to Peru. I wanted to travel. I went to Peru without a visa. You can't imagine how much I worked hard and struggled to get a work visa there, being every morning at 7 a.m. at the Ministry, you know, of Immigration. Oh my, it was not easy. It was not easy. I got there, I spent all my money going on trips to Machu Picchu and stuff just to make sure I wouldn't have a choice to go back, because I was like, I'm here to live in Peru. I don't want to go back. And it didn't go as I planned because the job I had applied to, they lost my file. So when I got there, I didn't have that job in the university where I actually had the letter saying that I was hired. But anyways, then I found a better job with more holidays and a better paycheck. And but I had to go through a whole bunch of stuff, you know. And even during those times, it was really hard. I was so positive. It was like, no, I'm here. And I had so many signs of Pachamama around me, you know, that I knew I was never alone. You know, I knew I was never alone, and that kept me going. And then everywhere I have been, doors would open, I would say magically, but also because I had such a good energy and, you know, motivation letters and stuff like that. And I always succeeded in everything. When I got to the US, we got this house at incredible price. You know, the house of a dream, the marriage, the beautiful baby. You know, I had a miscarriage at first, and it was so bad. But then when I had Esteban, you know, I took a session with a lady who communicates with baby, you know, with the soul of the baby, and she was saying, but you know, if you had a miscarriage, the baby had eyes problem, it had heart problems. It was kind of like a draft, you know, your body was experiencing what it is to be pregnant, so he could prepare. I have a small body, I'm tiny, you know, so my body needed a little draft experience. And also when I had the miscarriage, I was by myself in my house. I never knew it was going to be so painful. Like I literally delivered a dead baby, you know, at 2-3 months. Had with contractions and stuff like that on my own. I experienced the pain of what it is to have a baby, and then I was like, wow, okay, that was traumatic, you know. But right away after I got pregnant, and I had Esteban, who's the most perfect baby. So luckily, he doesn't have any health problems. He's beautiful, you know. I'm so grateful. And so even then, I was like, you know, during my second pregnancy, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I'm just going like it is. I'm coming to my point, but please watch this video because it's important. I had nightmares my entire pregnancy of Esteban. I had nightmares every night that I was losing the baby, or I was falling in a tunnel in space, or aliens were abducting my child because I had a miscarriage. And I thought, you know, nothing can go wrong, you know, because all my life is going right all the time. And then after that, I was so traumatized that I was just so scared that I was going to lose my baby again. So I had nightmares every night. But even through that, I was still so positive. Okay, but I wouldn't have Esteban, who is so perfect. If I didn't have a miscarriage, I would have had another baby, who have heart problems and things like that. So of course, life is easier when you have a healthy child. And sometimes if you have a child that isn't not healthy, your concern is because you have to bring solutions to the world and stuff. And this is where I'm going now, because always been so positive, always been resourceful. When I started the art business, I got this big contract to the hospital. I got the oracle, like everything was flowing. I was like this, on my way up. And all of a sudden, all my life crumbles down. What's going on? I don't know. Everything's going on. My marriage goes down. My finances, and I'm still in this abundance mindset. I'm following all the masterminds. It's gotta work. There is no way. All my life, it always worked. There is no way. I have the right mindset. I have the house. I have the credit cards. I have everything. All the tools I need, I have it. And I have the passion, I have the talent. I know I'm a good writer. I know I'm maybe not the best painter, but the energy that I bring with the painting is very valuable, because I know every time I would talk to people, my friends used to call me when they had a problem to ask for advice. They would talk to me, they would be like, oh, every time I talk to you, I feel regenerated, I don't know, I just feel like you're helping me so much all the time. And so I was like, and I have to bring this to the world, and I never like to be depending on my husband, because he was in the Navy and we were moving a lot. I had to restart, he never understood really, because he always had the job, he was following the job, but I was like, I'm following your job. But for me, every time we start over, I have to start over my network, I have to start over my friends, I have to start over my job search, I have to know the area. And it takes a while when you move. I've moved a lot in my life. I've lived in many countries in the world. I can tell you, every single time I would stay a year or two, it's after 1 or 2 years that you're actually starting to develop your network, to have friends that you really consider like real good friends. It's not like, it's rare. Yeah, in Bahrain it went really fast. Like right away, the first month we had a great group of friends and stuff, but that's rare. It takes time. So every time starting over. So all this to say that I had the right mindset. I had everything in my hands. The success, on my road to success, everything. And yet, and I was generous. I was volunteering with association, organizations, and yet everything crumbled. And yet I have 5 credit cards that are maxed out, and maybe I not always made the right decisions, but I now, and so I'm like, so that triggers me a lot when I see those speeches of like, oh, the successful people have this abundant mindset and stuff like that. It triggers me because I was like, even if you have all this, even if you're generous, even if you do all this, you can, I'm not losing it all. I'm still eating, but I feel like I'm losing it all. I feel that I'm really close to have all my credit card maxed out. And and right now I have bills, like $900 bills every day for the past 2 weeks. Every day I have between $500 to $1,500 bill that comes of something I need to fix in my house, or my teeth, or my cat. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm drowning, like I want to cry right now. Why? And then I see this, the abundance mindset. You have to be partnering. Yeah, I try. You have to be giving. Yeah, I did. You have to be abundance, positivity. I did. And why? So why is this happening to me? I still see the injustice. I'm at the dentist and I see they have a bill for people who have insurance and a bill for people who don't have insurance. For the same treatment, it's 3 times the same price. I'm like, this is unacceptable. I was like, so if I didn't have insurance, they would have charged me 3 times the price. So pretty much the people who can't afford insurance, or the people who go for a car loan, if you have a good credit score, which means you have a good situation, you have a super low rate for a car, but if you have a bad situation, you have the highest rate. How is that fair? How is that fair? How people try? And I'm lucky because I could pay cash for my car. Okay, so I'm not victim. I'm speaking in the name of. Okay, so I never felt like a victim because I know I'm gonna make it. I've always been successful. I know I'm smart. I mean, not to be like not humble, but I know I can. I don't feel like a victim, but I see I'm speaking in the name of, someone who can't afford their car. How are they supposed to make it if society is made with inequalities like that? you know anyways because now is the important moment. I'm going to tell you the breakthrough, the revelation I had last night. And so I'm like, so why? What did I do, man? I haven't been always perfect, but everything I did it because I loved someone, or because I loved people, or I wanted to give, or I wanted to share stuff. Yes, I'm a little bit greedy. Yes, of course, I want to pay my bills. I want to be not worried about paying my bills for my son. When you have kids, it comes with responsibility. And then you have the people who made it. So you have the people who come from nothing and they made it. They made it, and now they're rich, they have millions, they have success, they inspirational, because you're like, oh my God, if they made it, I can make it. They're on the other side of the tunnel. And so of course I feel like I'm everywhere because I've been there, and I'm like, I want to go back there. And at the same time, I'm like, but now I'm also here. And so I'm like, why? So wait, I'm going long because I really want to tell you everything that's going through my mind. So the thing is, if you're listening to people who made it and they're super inspirational, and yes, they come from nothing, and yes, they struggle, and they're showing you, they're giving you, they're so generous, they're giving you all the tools, all the, their inspiration, their everything, for you to also help you. But it can be discouraging also when you see people on the other side of the tunnel, because the painting about the owl. Hi, I see there's someone watching. Woo! welcome. I'm talking about my oracle, the new oracle about the night owl. Okay, there is this painting with the owl, and so it talks about this dark night of the soul. And so I'm saying in the painting, sometimes you feel like you're in this tunnel, and you feel like no matter your efforts, no matter how much you're grinding, you just can't figure to get out of the tunnel. And you also feel like there's people who are mean to you for no reason, or who don't want good for you, when you've always want the best for everybody, and yet there's people who don't want the best for you. Since my Instagram account has been censored, disappeared, my Facebook page, the algorithm, I was hidden from the algorithm for many years. Okay, for 2 years, I know my Facebook page has been hidden from the algorithm because I used to have 20, 30 likes on my post, and from a day to another, it was zero. And I still have the same amount of followers. So I know that I was censored and hidden from the algorithm. My Instagram page disappeared. All my work from years disappeared and everything. So, but then I was like, okay, why? I want to know this law of attraction, why this is happening. Okay, so I have many things. So first off, the people who are angry at you or jealous or stuff like that, sometimes it's because they need the light, and it triggers things within them. And like I'm talking in my team building workshop that I'm also writing at the same time right now, there is 5 stages of acceptation. Okay, the first stage of acceptation is rejection. Okay, well, the first stage is completely ignoring. So, for example, do you care about the color of your neighbors on the other street over there, his car colors? Do you mind? you don't really care, you don't mind, it doesn't make a big difference in your life, or you don't believe it makes a big difference in your life, so you just don't pay attention, you don't care. So this is the first stage, is when people, they have a truth in front of their face, but they don't feel concerned at all, or there is a complete veil in front of them and they just don't see it and they completely ignore it. Then when the truth starts reaching out to their consciousness, there is this phase of rejection and anger. If it triggers something you believed in all of your life, let's imagine you're very religious or something completely different. I don't know, imagine imagine all of your life you've had your parents, you see your parents happy and stuff like that, and you're 35 years old and your mother tell you, oh, by the way, he's not your father. I'm making stuff up, right? But imagine you had a truth all of your life, and all of a sudden someone tells you this was not the truth, or Santa Claus is not real. When you're telling a child, after he's 8 years old, Santa Claus doesn't exist. So you're triggered, you feel betrayed, you feel angry, you don't want to believe it. What? Okay, so when you're bringing those symbols or lifting the veil or things that will trigger your beliefs like that, you get angry. Okay, you get angry and you point at figures, so at the people who's telling you the truth. They are the ones responsible. So, for example, someone who's going to tell a political truth, oh, they're the whistleblower, oh, they're the troublemakers, oh my God, no. And this is why the society, they're creating this state of gratitude, because, we want a society that is quiet. I bet you that a lot of these spiritual new age things, they have a lot of political party behind that, supporting that, because we want the people to be quiet and not make too many waves. So the system didn't change that fast. Of course you have to have gratitude. Of course you don't want to be a spoiled baby who thinks everything is owned to them, okay? But I'm speaking because I feel like I have made the efforts and stuff, and I still mad at the injustice in the world. Okay, so yes, I'm grateful for many things. I'm grateful for being healthy, having a roof over my head, having a group of friends, amazing, that even if I don't see them, I consider my soul family and that I really love. I'm grateful. It doesn't mean that you have to accept everything. It doesn't mean that you have to be blinded by the harsh reality of the world. And so this is why I feel like I've been put there. So writing this last night, so this is the first step, right? The people who are triggered by you, and either they are angry at you because they want you to be responsible, or they're triggered, or they're envious, or they feel insecure or whatever, they don't want to share their spot with a new person, whatever. Then once a truth, just like, remember the pattern of learning, right? Not like this, the pattern of learning. Once you've seen the truth once, twice, 3 times by many people, this is why it's important that we echo to each other. Because if I say a truth and, oh my God, she only get 10 followers, I should get 2 followers on Instagram, yeah, she's whatever, she's nothing. But then someone else is going to say the same thing. Oh, wait, I've seen that before. Oh, man, oh, Tony Robbins saying that. Oh, wait, oh, maybe I should consider. Oh, wait, oh, and I see, oh, this guy says it too. Okay, all right, maybe, okay, then they're no longer angry, then they're curious. Okay, the curiosity, questioning, asking questions. And asking questions, and people who question your work is amazing, because this is the first step of a consciousness that is opening and considers that this could be real. Like I said, if you don't have no doubt that your neighbor's car is blue, you're not going to argue about it. Okay, the car is blue, the car is blue. Okay? If I start telling you, no, the car isn't blue, the car is actually red, look again. And sometimes you have these cars that change colors, and oh my God, you're right. And so having a second look at things is already the step that you're opening up your consciousness and you're ready to welcome, and you need a proof. Okay, so then you're bringing more proof, and then you start accepting the truth. Once you accept it, you revolutionize your life. You're like, oh my God, this is so, I can't believe it. Oh my God, my vision is completely changed. This is why I'm making this video today. I need to tell everybody. So this is the fifth stage of acceptation, is promotion, because then you start promoting it. Okay, so first is ignorance, ignoring, rejecting, anger, questioning, acceptation, promotion. Then you promote it, you want everybody to know about it. Okay, so the law of attraction, I really feel like I'm embodying this thing, because that's always been a question, and how does it work? And I was manifesting and so back to this gap, right? So when you have people who are on the other side and who have it all, and you see they've made it, then it can bring a gap, because you feel, oh my God, I'm so far from this. Like, I'm so far from this. Like, yeah, okay, it's easy now for them to say that, because it's easy when you have it, you know? But they're not in my situation. They can't understand, you know? And this is the image I had last night, because times are changing constantly, you know? If you've made it 10 years ago, if you've made it 5 years ago, if you're making it right now, of course, they constantly update themselves. But it's like pretty much, if you're trying to see a dolphin, and you're on the boat, and you're looking down in the ocean at the fishes and the dolphins and the turtles, is not the same as if you're diving and you're inside the ocean and you're diving and you're swimming with the fishes and with the dolphins. Okay, so of course, if you've made it, you're still able to see what's going on down in the middle class societies and stuff like that, but you're no longer experiencing it like you used to. And you know, the problems, I'm not saying they're not conscious, because you know, Dean, Tony Robbins, they're in it all the time. They know, and this is why they're doing their job, because they know they have to help out the people. But now I'm talking about my personal situation, that I felt like I was there, at least at my level, you know. I wasn't a millionaire, but at my level, I felt like I was successful and I was in a great thing. And that all of a sudden, I'm putting in the ocean, right? I'm putting back down, thrown into the struggle. And last night I was writing and I was like, this is why, because sometimes this happens, you're put back there in the abyss, right? In the dark night, in this tunnel, and you're stuck there, because I feel like I'm stuck there. I feel like, why am I still stuck there? I'm doing everything right. And when I see the post, oh, you have to do that, you have to do that, you have to do that, I'm like, man, I'm doing it. This is what I'm like, I'm doing all this. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing all of it. I'm trying to partner. And then I'm like, sometimes you're stuck there. This is the most important thing. Listen. Sometimes you're stuck there because I wasn't just put there. I was there. I wasn't just put there so I could just get out of it. My consciousness, at the highest level, my life path, put myself there so I can bring the people out with me, right? It's like a rescue mission. And all this time, I was like, man, how am I going to rescue myself? Because now I have a child. You know, when you have a child, it's different. Because when you have a child, you no longer... When it was just myself, I was never worried. I know I would always have more. I would always find a place, you know. But when you have a child, you need to have that comfort. I need to have that comfort, you know. I need to have that security. And I was like, I'm no longer here. I'm not sent here to just get here and save myself. I'm here because I need to bring people out of, I need to find a tribe that is in the same situation and take them out of there and join the others that are waiting for us on the other side of the tunnel. You know what I mean? If we're all waiting on the other side of the tunnel and there's all the people right here, you know, all the fish, I'm just taking this ocean because it's two different dimensions. You're on the boat. in the sun, in the sunlight, and you're looking down and there's all these fishes under the ocean, you can see, but you can't see, you know, unless you're swimming with the fish. So, and I don't like to make this separation, because we're all, in the end, we're all equal, we're all human. But in the eyes of society, we're not. Some people have high interest rates. Some people, they pay $10 an hour. Some people will never be able to afford a mortgage. No, because both of my parents, their parents left them nothing. Me, well, then now they both have kind of a little bit of property, but I'm never going to see that. It's their thing. I never benefited. And for my son Esteban, I was like, no, I want to own. This is so important to me, because all of my life, I was like, oh, this worried, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to find a place to live? Because if you like to travel, if you like to be kind of a free bird, not too much in your comfort zone, you can't rent a place, because to rent a place, you need to have a stable job with paychecks and stuff like that. So for me, it was very important to have this house and give it to my son. Okay, so he will never have this problem. He will, not that I want him to be spoiled, because trust me, I'm tough with my son. I teach him lesson. I don't want him to be raised spoiled, but I don't want him to spend his energy in his life trying to find a roof over his head. Everybody should have that. I want him to spend his life, his passion, into doing his dreams, the things he's good at, and changing and making an impact in the world. Because while he's not worrying about where he's going to sleep tonight, he can actually be worried how to make a huge, big life change in the world, how to create eco-friendly spaceships and stuff like that, which you would think would be there now in the 21st century. But we're on the way there, but not just yet. So I had this clear image yesterday that was like, no, I jumped in the ocean. I jumped there so I could find the ways. I made this video last time, survival, financial survival. Okay, so now I'm at the point I'm gonna go sell my jewelry more so I can actually pay my bills. Okay, and I would never think I would be there, that I would have to go sell my jewelry, my grandma's jewelry, my married jewelry, just so I could afford to pay my bills, even though I have diplomas and things. But I don't feel poor. I feel abundant all the time. And this is also what got me in trouble, because feeling abundant, there will always be more. I'm always gonna make it. And it's true, because every time I'm at that charter point, right, when it's gonna get tough, boom, I receive something to help me keep going. So, but this mindset is not always good. My friend who came here stayed with me. She moved to the US. She had a few thousands, and she was like that. She was like, oh, the law of attraction. I was like, okay, so are you planning ahead for the next 2 months? And she's like, no, there will always be more. The law of attraction. There's always be more. And I told her, I used to believe that. I'm sorry, I don't want to ruin your dreams, but it's not. If you're not doing anything, if you just sit there, you're not going to get anything. You're going to run out of your money, and you're not going to be able to do anything. And she was like, oh, stop talking to me like that. It was annoying her. She was like, stop talking to me like this. I'm 40 years old. I know what I'm doing. And guess what? After 2 months, she ran out of money. And she couldn't buy a car. She couldn't pay rent. And I was like, listen, I was trying to help you. I was trying to tell you, because I've been in this mindset of law of attraction. Oh, money will come. Even if you're working hard, even if you have the best mindset and everything, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, because you've been censored, because the algorithm wasn't in my favor. All of my product I've been selling for 3 years, I've sold nothing. Okay, so anyways, and now I'm like, okay, so what do I do? So that was my little revelation from last night, that I felt like how to transition from the victim to the hero. That really helped me, because I was really feeling like a victim. I was really feeling all this is happening, one thing after another, and the universe, in French, I don't know, we have this word, acharnement, l'acharnement. I don't know how would you say in English, it's like I'm bullied almost, like my life, you know. And now I realized, I was like, no, I've volunteered book, The Three Waves of Volunteers by Dolores Cannon. You know, I volunteered to go there to see how it is and to get the people out of it. So if you want, and I'm not saying, oh, you know, I'm the hero, I'm gonna save you all, but sometimes you do need people who come and help you. You do need someone who helps you without asking anything in return. You needed um, um, you know, like um, people who come in the group and say, hey, you guys, open your eyes. This is bullshit. Like, open your eyes. Let's get out of this fiction, you know? Essentially, it's just a bunch of numbers on a computer and it's ruining my life. I'm living in this anxiety for 3 years. And also, something very important. So, you see, this is all about one card of my oracle, my night owl. The dark night of the soul. This is giant, man. I can talk about this dark night of the soul for hours because I've been in and out of there, you know, and in all aspects of my life, financial, romantic, society, my relation with society. You know, I grew up with my dad always be angry at society, always angry, criticizing, and I was like that too. I was in between, you know. I don't never want to be like that. I don't want to be that person who's constantly angry. And this is why I was so good and successful, because I was like, no, life is good, you know, and I was out and everything. But I also was always a little bit of yelling at everybody, because when people have a bad behavior, yeah, you attract what you judge. Well, I don't care, because sometimes, you know, this non-judgmental thing, there's people who treat you like, just because they make it, they feel like they have no concern about other. They treat you, they put you in a situation, they treat you like less than garbage. Like they would even treat their garbage better, you know. And then they're like, oh, that's not my problem. And I've never been like that, you know. I'm here and sometimes I'm angry and I have this anger and I can't breathe. It's pressuring my heart. And I know it's not for me. And I'm like, I know I'm literally, I'm in that tunnel. I'm channeling, I'm connecting with all these people, all this anger, all this suffering. And you know what hurts me the most is when I talk to someone and she's like, you know, I gave up, you know, I don't want to be happy. I don't care, you know, my marriage, we're not happy. We don't love each other. We're just roommates. My kids, oh my god, my kids, they're horrible. They just don't get out of their rooms. Yeah, my job, I don't like it. I don't care. I'm just, you know, I don't want to be happy. I don't care. I don't want to make an effort for anything. And I was like, oh my god, that's even worse than being angry, you know. Angry is when you still have a hope that you can make things better. You think I would waste my time screaming on Instagram and stuff if I don't want to make it better? I'd be like, oh, whatever, you know, just gonna give up. And then I'm like, I see something every time I want to give up, and then I see something, and I'm like, this is unacceptable. Like, we need to change it, you know. And you can change things if you don't identify it. And it's not being hateful for the governments, because the governments is just like you and me. They're people trying to do their best, you know. They're people who got a job and they're trying to do their best. But like I said, if you're not in it and you don't see what are the problems, you have your government job, you have your safety of employment, you have all your benefits. You don't really put yourself in the feet of the people who don't have the benefits, who can't afford a mortgage and stuff like that. So this is why it's important to shout it out and to denounce it, not denounce it in a way like, oh, I'm a snitch, in a way that you're identifying the problems. So once we get in a position that we actually have an influence, then we can make the change. okay? You go to the dentist, what is the treatment price? It's not like, oh, let me see your insurance. No. What is the price of that treatment for everybody? When I want a mortgage for my house, it's not like, oh, let us check your credit card. No. What is the current best mortgage rate for everybody? I want to buy a car. Oh, we got to check your... No. What is your best interest rate for everybody? It's not like, oh, let me see who you are, if you have a down payment or not. This is so unjust. It just makes the poor even poorer, the people who struggling even more. Oh my goodness, I was like, yeah. So anyways, you see my point, and we are all the victim and the savior. You know, we all are the masters of our destiny, and sometimes this is not just at the society level, okay? Sometimes you can feel for society, like this just made my day yesterday. It doesn't, my situation is still the same. I'm still broke. And, but I went from, I'm a victim. Nobody understands me. I have this, you know, once you have it, you forget, you know, and then you judge the people who are angry and stuff. And I know that's not the case. I know that's also a work that we're doing together, you know, to see further than the veil. But sometimes you feel you're a failure, you know. For me, right now, I feel like a failure. Oh my God, I'm not able to be independent. This is the basics for a woman, like, and a mother, for how long I've struggled to have this, and I finally have my peace and not being able to make it. And every day I'm like, man, I have all the best art, I have all the best things, and still I'm not making it. I'm such a failure. And now I'm like, no, I'm a hero. Like, I gave up all this ascending mountain to dive straight in the abyss and to see what's going on at the consciousness level. I remembered from, I don't know, I had this vision all of a sudden, and I was like diving, you know, you're diving in there to see what the hell is going on. Just like, I want to have a government job. I want to see, it's not, I never wanted to be a politician. I never want to be in the military. This is because I was always like, oh my God, there's injustice, you know, and there's still war. I'm against the war. And then I was like, no, but if you only have people who want to bring war in the world who go into the military, then there will always be war in the world. No, you need to dive into it so you can make a change from the inside. Okay, the military is not here to bring war. The military is here to bring peace. Okay, so when I see courses on their curriculum that says warfare specialist and stuff like that, no, it should be called peace fair. Okay, because the goal is not the war, the goal is the peace. So you see the thing. So we are a little bit of a victim, and we are a little bit of a savior. Sometimes people who came, you know, and they're homeless, on the consciousness level, they actually wanted that because for some reason they wanted to experience it or whatever. And I'm not saying you should not help the homeless because, oh, they choose it in their life path, because sometimes also the course can change, and also they're meant to trigger people. Okay, you see a homeless, it's not just, oh, he's in situation because he deserves this. Or maybe he's in front of you right now because he's triggering something in you. What can you do to help? Okay, to trigger generosity around the world and gratitude. Or maybe you should be grateful for what you have, you know. So there's so much happening on the consciousness level that is just more than just what you're doing, what you're productive or not accomplishing. Because sometimes you feel like you're failing, but you're actually exactly succeeding in your mission. So that just made me excited. That also makes me wonder, okay, now that I don't have my following on Instagram anymore, I lost my Instagram, how am I gonna take people out of there if I'm still making video that nobody sees, you know? I'm not sure, but I keep writing, I keep doing my thing that I can look for a job, that I can do whatever, I can give up, but in the end, you will never change yourself. And yesterday I was going to make a 5 minutes video, but it's 45 minutes. Yesterday I was seeing this meme that says, to change come from within. You have to change yourself to change the world and stuff like that. And it just keeps putting people down. Like the spirituality, they don't know how much they're damaging people. But you have to change. You have to become better. You have to be in gratitude. No, you have to be yourself. Okay, you're born a certain way. I'm born angry at society and I'm good at this and this. Maybe the world needed one just like me that is able to identify problems and see how it is at a higher consciousness level, identify it. So maybe now we don't feel like a victim, but we feel like a hero because we are at a place where we can actually spread the message to others and bring them out of there. And maybe I love people too much and I'm like, oh my god, I forgive so many people who treat me like crap, but yet I still love them so much. And maybe, some people consider me, she's such a stalker, I'm gonna send her at the other end of the world just to make sure she doesn't show up at my event and other bullshit mindset you have. You know what? I'm proud to love people too much. I'm proud because the world needs more love. Okay, this innocent, genuine love that you're ready to fall in love and give everything. Well, the world needs more of that. Less malicious, strategic things where you're actually satisfied to see others struggling and or whatever. I don't know. And I'm also very paranoid. There's also many things that happen to me and that trigger me a lot, and now I judge and I'm paranoid, and I always sometimes I feel like people that are plotting against me, and probably not the case at all. But maybe sometimes you'd be surprised, what people are actually able to do just to. Anyways, so be you, and maybe some people they're into action and they're massive action takers and stuff, and the people need that. And sometimes I see a video of a lady whose hair countryside, and she's like, take the moment, you don't have to do anything, enjoy, breathe this flower, we don't have to be in the mass production. And man, thank you, we need people like that too. Okay, because in order to be fulfilled, it's not just what you achieve. It's also feeling satisfied when you're just sitting there in the grass and you're connecting with the world and with the nature. I remember when I was in Peru, I would come back from work and every day I would walk by this Malecon, right, which was a cliff over the Pacific Ocean. Every day I had to go. Like if I didn't have that after work, I would just feel like I'm just going work, home, work, home, work, home. No fulfillment, no purpose in life. I would just stop by the Malecon. I had my tree. I had this tree by the cliff there. I would just hug that tree, sit there and look at the colors of the Pacific, and it was just like the sun shining on the water and like silver reflection and like shimmer all over the water. And oh my god, it just like I can see myself, like I can teleport myself there right now. And the wind, with the salt, the smell of the salt, and there I felt accomplished. After my day of work, I'd be there and I felt like, wow, I'm one with Pachamama. And from that, then Pachamama merged with me, and then I could literally, I hear message, the wind talking to me. I hear, there I'm writing about my cat Nikita who passed away. All of a sudden there is a butterfly that comes and flies right in front of my face, and I'm like, she's there, and then the flower right in front of my face starts talking to me, and I'm like, what? But then you feel magical, and this empowers you as well. Okay, so what you're good at, if you're good at like Dean says also, don't forget the things you're not good at. Focus on the things you're good at. Otherwise, you feel like a failure all your life. You're like, oh my god, I'm so bad at this. Like, I'm bad at making money. All right, but I'm good at writing. I'm good at making video and hopefully inspiring. At least I inspire myself. At least, that's already a win. But when I have a revelation like this, that I'm like, wow, maybe maybe I sacrificed a piece of my comfort to go there and get some people because I connect with them, and all these, sometimes I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world. I'm like, man, uh, and then I see people and I'm like, wow, there's so many people struggling right now, you know, and when I was like, never I would think I would be in an abusive marriage, or in these situations that I've lived, I would never think that would happen to me. And if someone would have told me, I wouldn't have believed it. If a woman tells me, oh, I'm in an abusive relationship, I'd be like, oh my God, another one of this submissive victim, just get rid of this guy, just, easy peasy to give the advice. But when you're in the situation, you have feeling for people, you tolerate, or you're in a situation financially where you can't escape. And many women that are stuck in their situation, like that friend I was talking about, who's like, oh no, we can't afford to live in two different places. We're not happy. We actually don't talk to each other. They just share. And I'm telling her, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather 1,000 times going through my struggle and going through this tunnel and transition that seems to last forever, and I can see the end of it fast enough, than staying in a marriage when every day I'm like, man, is this it? Like, is this the best we can do? Like, we argue, we used to be really happy. It was a real love relationship, but we don't share conversations anymore. When he has an idea, I'm like, yeah, great, or when I have an idea, it's like, no, this is not at all. Like, I'm like, it's not like one is right and one is wrong. We're just not in the same world anymore. And I'm like, the life is long. I'm 35 years old. It's just the beginning essentially of my life. I have twice as much to live still. Like, do I want this for the rest of my life? I'd rather 10 times going through the transition and the suffering and trying to figure it out than staying in a situation where I'm hurting every day because of someone else, or because of, I'm talking for the women in abusive relationships and that don't have the financial resources to escape from that. Okay, because when you have kids, mostly infants, kids in a young age, I'm sorry if you don't have the money to have a babysitter or an au pair. So by the way, an au pair is a great option that I considered many times, but we didn't agree on that either. But it's actually a student, or someone, maybe your cousin in your family, or someone who can actually stay with you, have a free rent, and help you with the food and the kids and stuff like that, so you can get to work, because it's difficult for women to work nowadays while they're raising kids. Okay, so anyways, that was not the purpose of the video, but yes, so the situation you are in is not always what it seems like on the outside. Okay, they try to think on the consciousness level where you are and why. Okay, and then this morning I saw pictures from Robert Grant, and he was showing this solid, right, that looks almost like there's solid stuck inside the solid, inside the solid, inside the solid, and really confirmed that image that I had last night of, you have to go, like when I went to jail, for example. Oh my God, that was horrible. But I could never imagine. Of course, you don't imagine that jail is cool, but the way they treat people, this is just unbelievable. You're nothing. Like, you're there, you're nothing. It's not like you're a human. No, you're nothing. You're not an animal. You eat the food you eat in jail is like cat food. Like, you're nothing. And I'm like, wow, I would never want to go back there, but I'm actually happy I got to see. And that this lady who was sharing, first, I was innocent. I went to jail because I was defending myself, and I didn't want to get the other person in trouble. So, many times you try to protect people because you're like, oh, I don't want them to lose their job. I don't want them to be in trouble. So you shut your mouth, but then they have no problem sending you in Europe. you know. So you're like, wow. And the lady that was in the cell with me, she was also, she put a gun on her husband's head because he was beating her every day, was constantly threatening her with a gun, insulting her, cheating on her, doing all the worst, like drug addict, all, you know, the movie scenarios you can hear. And one day she defended herself. She took the gun, she pointed it at his head, like, you're not gonna touch me today. And the guy called the cops. And so, of course, she wasn't a liar. So they said, did you put a gun on his face? I don't know exactly what happened, but they put her, and she was there for a while. She was waiting for her court, and that was like 1 or 2 months down the road. And I was like, wow, that. And then another lady who was there, who had epilepsy, and she had epilepsy, and so she had this medicine with her, like I don't know what kind, powder or whatever thing. And then she had a crisis, like in a public place, and they called the police. And instead of helping her, they saw that she had substance, and they took her in jail. And she was like, so they thought it was drugs, even after they did the test, and they noticed it wasn't drug, it was medicine. She was still in jail waiting for the judgment. Another girl, the same night, brought in the same night, in my little, like in movies, you know, this thing, like with the toilet there, and like the thing, and you see the police on the other side, and they're like, hey, blah blah blah. Same. She's there. She has a little accident. They do a drug test on her, but they're sure that she's drunk. They do a drug test. This thing comes back 0, but because they already have arrested her, she's still there, and she's still gonna spend the night because she's there. She's gotta wait for the judgment, like paperwork. That's crazy. Another thing, like my cat has a problem. He constantly has this irritation on his chin, and I think it's because he had okay, I'm completely out of topic, but still I want to show some inequalities. It's problems of the system, you know. If you're still watching, I mean, I guess you like it. So he constantly has this UTI, right? Urinary tract infections, which I've told you before is linked to territorial issues and stuff like that. So I stopped giving him the solid food. I started giving him wet food, so he could be more hydrated and stop having this UTI. Except that the solid food is actually good for kitties because it cleans the teeth. While they're crunching, it removes the dirt from your teeth. It also removes that dirt, that residual on your teeth. Because I stopped giving him this dry food, he just had this wet food. The wet food stays on the teeth. I didn't notice that. So last time I took him to the dentist, his teeth, his back teeth, are completely like covered in this thing that's become hard on it, right? And then he gets these chin infections. So I have pet insurance because my cat, the first time he had something, that thing cost me $1,500 to save his life. So after that, I learned my lesson. I got him a pet insurance, and I paid $25 a month for all his health problem being covered. And this thing has saved my life because when he had it again, he needed to have a surgery. This thing was $3,000, and for $20, that thing saved me a lot of money. So I'm grateful for that. But still, so I called my vet, and so I make appointment for the teeth cleaning, right? That is related to another issue. And so I'm like, just in case, I'm going to call my insurance because after what happened to my teeth, I was like, let's make sure he's covered for that. And I called the insurance, and they're like, no, if it's just a teeth cleaning, he's not covered for that. It's not considered health. It's more like aesthetics or whatever. It's a special coverage and stuff. I was like, well, it's actually health because that thing then gives him other things on around his face. So this is kind of like the base of the if we don't want to have bigger issues later considering something else, it's better to cover, the small things where it starts, the root of the problem. And this is the problem with the medicine nowadays, that they cure the symptoms but not the root of the problem. And they say, yeah, no, it's not covered. So I called my vet. I already knew what they were going to say, but I'm like, okay, so my cat has this, it's not covered for my insurance, I can't pay. Is there a way that we can just, do it anyways, and on the paper write it as the chin treatment, and so you get paid, the cat gets his treatment, and I don't get, in more financial struggle. So this helps everybody. And they're like, oh, no, this is fraud. We can't write something else on the record. Is the record, it has to be exact and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is administration, but your first mission or for example, I tell her, or we do the treatment, but you guys charge me when I'm going to contract, they say I can't contract the dental insurance for the cat until February, right? When my renewal. So I was like, oh, we do the treatment, but we post dated to February. So whenever I'm covered, you guys get paid for it. No, the record has to be exact and stuff. And I was like, man, I get it. It's fraud to insurance, and you only pay $20 and you expect to have hundreds in return for insurance. But I actually called the insurance. I was like, I'll pay for the dental. They're like, no, you can't renew. You can pay. You can add a policy until your renewal date. And just stuff like this. And then I tell them, like, you see, your mission is not administration. Your mission is to take care of animals who need treatment now. And then find a way. She's like, well, just get a new credit card so you can pay for it. And I'm like, no, I can get a new credit card. I can't. Like, not possible. I'm maxed out. And I'm like, and so this is the world now. This is the world. And I get it. We need records. We need to be clean, but the medicine, like my teeth, for example, same thing. I tell them, I was like, can we just post date it for when my insurance is covered? Because Sam, I have 6 months wait on my insurance, whatever. And it's like, no, we can do that. We have to be clean on the records and stuff. And I get it. They can lose their license if they don't follow. But the mission, what is the mission first? Helping people or administration? Don't you think the law could be a little bit more flexible so people can actually do that job and not be scared constantly of repercussion? We're so hiding behind the law, the procedures, the administration, that we lose sight of what we started. What is the mission? And it's just like me with my art. I've been giving so much and working so much and stuff, and that put myself in so much financial struggle that now, to be honest with you, my first concern right now is to pay my bills. Okay? I used to want to bring people out with me. I used to want to, connect with kids and stuff, and it was working. But then as soon as I started thinking of myself, oh, well, I need to pay bills too. And then I didn't receive the support. I didn't receive the paycheck, nothing. I just dig myself. So I was like, okay, maybe I had to keep giving collectively and never think of myself, but at some point you have to put your oxygen mask on. Personally, I cannot work if I'm in anxiety. I cannot paint. I cannot do a workshop where I'm providing supplies, I'm providing things if I know this is gonna put my credit card even worse. And I constantly have this thing in my head that I'm like, man, I'm broke, I'm getting in debt. I know I shouldn't think this way. I know I should be like, oh, I'm serving my community. This is beautiful. It doesn't matter. The other people, I'm here to serve. No, I have a child. Okay, I need to feed my child. I need to pay my bills, big bills. I can't work. I can't paint. You have this thing in my head. So it's a vicious circle, So hopefully we get to this will change. It's a work on myself every day to make my mindset better. But I also believe that I'm doing my best and that we have the mindset and the personality that we have for a reason, because the world needs this, the way you are. Don't spend your entire life trying to change yourself. Okay? Try, of course, spend your life to try to be better, but spend your life to be yourself. Okay? Otherwise, just leave the spot to someone else if you're trying to be someone else. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Long video again. I think I could have stopped at 30 minutes. It was best, but I keep talking. So I guess better out than in. Maybe we'll serve someone today to hear that, just at least this little shift of consciousness. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Oh yeah, one more thing. Colors of Nature Oracle, available for free on my website. Now, you go to my website, on my library, the Colors of Nature Oracle. It's available for free. You can download it, the PDF file. I'm still looking for a publisher. I haven't spent a lot of time looking, actually, because I was tired of negative answers. So I was like, you know what, at least if I don't write to everybody, it doesn't hurt my confidence to keep hearing no. I'm just going to stop talking to everybody. So at least I'm in my own power, my own confidence. You guys can have it, you can print it, read it to your kids, and hopefully this gets published one day, that you can have the beautiful cards. If you're not patient to read an entire book with your kids, this is perfect, because you pick one card or two cards and you just get a little paragraph to read, and it's a little shot of consciousness, things that will stay stuck in your mind. So I think that's a great project. It will manifest. All right, bye guys.